You're listening to Success Stalkers Radio, Episode 17 with Peter G. Welcome to Success Stalkers Radio. I am your host, Iona Garrett. People all over the globe are rewriting the rules to success. They're making money and changing the world. Join me Monday through Friday as I interview today's top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and entertainers that will leave you inspired to take action and achieve success on purpose. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, Success Stalkers, let's get started. I am your host, Iona Garrett, and this is another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. I am simply thrilled to introduce my guest today, Peter G. So, Peter, are you ready to talk some success today?
Yes, I am.
Peter G is a motivational speaker and personal development coach. He inspires and teaches through creative problem solving. Peter has trained trainers and presented to large audiences across America. He has inspired thousands of people in numerous industries and lifestyles to live life creatively, passionately, peacefully, and to begin living life on fire. He is a man of many skills and talents, a distinguished veteran fighter, arson investigator, published photographer, a talented musician, and he has more than 30 years of focused experience with the beauty industry, representing numerous manufacturers, distributors, and salon staff and individuals. Well, Peter, I've given our listeners just a little overview, so take a minute, tell us about you personally, because we want to get to know you. Then give us a little overview of your business and success path.
Well, I've been blessed to spend 32 years in the professional beauty industry. And in this 32 years, I've had the opportunity to do everything from behind the chair all the way up into the corporate world and stage work, the whole 9 yards. And a few years back, well, I say a few years, about 17 years back, the consulting side of my business started taking off. And it started taking off simply because people needed more help. They had their business, but they couldn't get it going, or they had, the right team, but they couldn't get the chemistry going, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And so the consulting side of this started. So we fast forward 15 years, and about 2 years ago, I started to realize that all these wonderful things that we're doing for salon owners and small businesses outside of the beauty industry, they were taking the ideas, they were taking the handbooks, the policies, the ideas, and all the other stuff. But I wasn't seeing the results, if you will. And that's when I decided to change my direction and become more of a personal development trainer, personal development coach.
Okay.
Because what I've realized was people needed that help to get them to take the action steps needed. And once we can get them to the point of getting past the blockages that were blocking their success, then we were able to take them to the next level with all of the different things that we were creating and so on and so forth. And so, here I am today, 2014, and I get to work with a plethora of small businesses and salons across North America, including into Canada, and helping them build their teams, better customer service, growing their business, and growing their own personal development so that they can achieve more success, not just professionally, but personally as well.
That's awesome. I'm also from the beauty industry as well, and I used to have a salon years ago. If I knew you back then, I probably would still be in business. I could have used you back then. I do. I love the beauty industry. I love what you're doing. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on our show. For one is you actually you were with us like 5 years ago when we actually had our very first Success Stalkers site. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah, I remember you were like Success Stalker of the Month, and but I've always followed you, with what you're doing. I was kind of quiet behind the scenes, but I was looking at all your pictures and all the things that you were doing for salons and the industry, and I'm just glad we were able to stay connected, and so happy to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you, and I was so happy to see you brought the show back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Peter, we're going to dive way into your journey a little later in our interview. But before we do, we always like to start Success Talkers Radio off with a success quote to really get that motivational ball rolling. So take it away.
Well, here's my success quote, and this is something I live by every day. Is don't confuse your history with your destiny. That phrase right there literally changed my life. And for people out there, first off, I'm a firm believer that nobody gets out of bed in the morning and says today is a great day to fail.
Right.
And as people, as humans, sometimes we tend to carry too much baggage with us, the emotional baggage. They're not good enough, pretty enough, tall enough, fast enough, so on and so forth. And a lot of times people realize that everything that they have done in their life have led them to this moment right now. And they became the person they are today, but they can change who they are at any moment moving forward. And learning to not confuse your history with your destiny. Take advantage of those things that you've done, good, bad, or indifferent, and learn from them and move forward and take those lessons and that data with you as you move forward. Because you see, everything moving forward is in your control. Everything that's already gone in the past is out of your control. It can't be changed.
Right.
Isn't that cool to know that in the next moment, in the next 60 seconds, I can change whatever I want in my life?
Yes, I'm a firm believer in that. I'm always preaching that to everyone around me that, everything is about a choice. We have the power to change our future. And, I love what you said about that because, we all have been through just crap in our lives. Everybody has. But I think about some of the things that I've been through, but it has actually made me into who I am today. And if I hadn't went through those things, would I really even be here today? So, I've learned to embrace my past, and to move from it and to learn from it. And I love what you said about, within the next 5 minutes, we can change, our future. And we really can. It's so true. I totally agree.
Yeah, and that's one of the things helping people to see that. The biggest thing that people have are fear. And people are afraid to take the next step. I'm afraid I may fail again. Well, for me, falling down is just the first step of getting back up.
I love that.
And
love that.
Isn't that cool? And it's like, okay, nobody really likes to fail. It's embarrassing. It's whatever. But that's an ego thing. Failing means I just didn't do it right.
Right, exactly.
I get a chance to do it again.
Yes, I know. I feel the same way. And you know what? That segues us right into my next question because, we're all about, the story and your journey here at Success Talkers Radio, Peter. But first, we always like to kind of focus on, say, a challenge or maybe a possible failure that you could have had in your life, whether it's in, your business life or in your personal life, if you'd like to share. But we would love for you to just take us to a place in time where you may have failed and failed even, flat on your face and just share some lessons with us that you've learned from that failure.
Okay, well, let me take on the personal side. Many, many, many years ago, I had an issue with addiction. And cocaine became my best friend.
Okay.
And I got caught into a cocaine addiction that went over several years. And, it got to a point where I was like, I didn't realize I was losing friends. And obviously I was losing money, but I was losing friends. I was pushing away my family members, and, I was just a party guy. And the aha moment for me was one night, I had this feeling like, I had partied too much and I wasn't going to wake up the next morning. And so I was kind of like, wow, I need to clean everything up and get it out of here so my family doesn't find this and so on and so forth. And, I went to bed, totally peaceful with the fact that I wasn't going to wake up. And the next day when I woke up, I was like, wow, I'm still here, And I went in the bathroom and I looked at my face, man, and my face was all gray and my eyes had black circles underneath and stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, I just got a second chance. And, I literally, I just didn't ever do it again.
Wow.
But I knew at that second chance, because at that moment is when the aha moment was like, God's got a bigger plan for me. Something else is going to happen. And that was the life-changing moment for me. And, of course, now that I had to back out of the addiction, I had to start letting go of the friends that I had picked up in my addiction days.
Yes.
And I had to regain the respect and the trust of the people that I loved. And I had to let go of the people that I thought I loved.
Right.
And I had to get my life back on track. And that took a long time. But with every day that I kept working on it, it kept getting better and better and better and better. And that is where don't confuse your history with your destiny kicks in for me.
Wow.
Because my history may have been that, but my destiny is not. My destiny is whatever I want it to be. And knowing that I had a choice, I could have gone right back and done a bump of cocaine at that moment. But I didn't. I looked at it and I said, hey, I got a second chance. I got an opportunity here. What can I do with this opportunity and this energy? And I moved forward with it.
Wow.
And through that, I was going to help other people too.
Simply remarkable. I tell you, that is just so powerful. And thank you so much for being transparent and sharing that with us, because there are so many people that are going through things like this. And, sometimes people aren't, willing to share those things. But, I can honestly see that you're free from that because you're able to share it with such conviction. And, that's just powerful. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. I just feel I was very blessed to have that experience. And to be honest with you, I've never really shared it with anybody before except really, really close friends and family. So this was like, this was the first for me to say it out loud.
Well, we're truly, truly honored. And, I know that, this is God because, I'm a Christian, and I don't, sometimes some people don't like to mix, Christianity with business, but I'm sorry. I have to, because if it was not for God, I wouldn't even be in business, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I acknowledge him every chance I get. And if I lose listeners because of it, so be it,
I agree with what you just said, and a lot of people, they do get offended sometimes you talk about religion and so on and so forth, but at the end of the day, I believe that we as a society, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, we as a society have moved too far away from church.
Yes.
And I believe we all need to bring a little bit of church back into our lives, whatever our faith is.
Right.
We need to reconnect.
I agree. I totally agree. Well, we're going to segue right into something you just mentioned a few minutes ago. You said your aha moment. And, you mentioned that moment. Were there any other, say, light bulb moments or aha moments that you've had, say, maybe in business that have helped you to be successful?
Yeah, some of the things that I've seen that were aha moments for me was getting out of my own way. And this is my truth. It doesn't have to be anybody else's. But for me, I have found in my professional career as an entrepreneur that at the very beginning, I was constantly getting in my way. And I was constantly, in my mind competing with others, when in reality I learned that entrepreneurship is kind of like a golf game where I'm really just competing with myself.
Right.
And once I reversed that thought process and realized that I'm really just competing with myself and not competing with others, is when my business really started to change. Looking at what I do, and if I really, really dig what I'm doing and it makes my heart sing, then I keep moving with that. But if I'm doing something that doesn't make my heart sing, kind of makes my stomach turn a little bit, the intuition kicks in, then I let that go and I move to the next thing.
I love how you really just broke that down, because I resonate with that, because I'm the same way.
Yeah, I think sometimes people, they get trapped. They're like, well, I started this, and if I don't finish it, then my family and friends are going to think I'm a failure. And, that goes back to ego. That goes back to that not good enough, strong enough, pretty enough, fast enough. This is our life, and we get to live it in this lifetime. We get to live it one time. So make the best of it.
I agree with you. As an entrepreneur, as a new entrepreneur, I was always beating myself up for every little thing.
Sure.
And I've learned that, like you said, you're not competing with everyone else. You're competing with yourself. And I was always comparing everything I did to someone else, and you can never measure up. You can never measure up to everyone else. God has given everybody a specific gift, and you just have to stay in your lane. I actually just had an interview with someone, and I said that a few minutes ago, because we have to stay in our lane, because there's no traffic there.
Right.
Just keep moving. So yeah, totally agree. I've learned to get out of my way many times.
And I was at a big a seminar one time, and I had the honor of seeing Les Brown. And this guy's an amazing guy.
Yes, he is.
And he said this one thing that really stuck in my mind. And he said, only quality people. Surround yourself with only quality people. It doesn't mean you don't love everybody. But when you surround yourself with only quality people, then you find yourself gravitating to a whole new level in both your personal and your professional life.
That's so true. That's so true.
And now you have people that are behind you and supporting you and helping you move forward, than in front of you opposing you and trying to push you back.
Right, right. Iron sharpens iron. The Bible even says that. So yeah, so let's shift to let's shift for a minute because I want to shine a spotlight on you, Peter. Can you tell us one of your proudest entrepreneurial moments?
Yeah. One of my proudest moments just occurred this past June. I had the opportunity to be in Orlando, and I had an opportunity to do the several classrooms at the premiere show in Orlando. And this was the first year presenting totally under my logo. And I was launching a brand new segment that's part of a new book I'm going to be putting out here soon. And anyway, I had someone walk up to me in between the classes and had told a story of how what I had taught last year there changed their life in the 12 months. And, as human beings, sometimes we don't realize how we make an impact on somebody, because what I had said was simply something I said that I had written and created and put in my presentation last year, not knowing, because I knew the information was good that I was putting out there, but I had no idea the impact it was going to have on this one person's life.
Right, right.
And when they came back to me and told me how where they were in their life at that moment, how what they had heard me say had made them think differently and take different action steps that led to where they are today 12 months later, it brought tears to my eyes.
I can imagine.
To think that I could play that kind of a role in that person's life, and I don't even know that person. I live on the West Coast, they live on the East Coast, but, they blessed me by sitting in my room and listening to me for 75 minutes. And, and to me, that's just incredible power that we have in communicating with other people.
Yes, absolutely. And that's just a testament to the kind of person you are and the character that you have, and the leadership that you have, because you're a servant. You're a servant leader. And I mean, I know that. I can feel that. And I've from what I've witnessed, even online, I can see that. And that's just one of the greatest rewards. I can only imagine how you must have felt, for him to come and tell you that.
I had tears in my eyes, man. I felt very blessed that, that even this person took the time to tell me that story.
Right.
And I just had to pray after that.
That's powerful, because God is using you in the beauty industry. You're impacting people, in their business, but you're actually impacting their lives, like he just explained to you, because you get a chance to have that, one-on-one FaceTime,
right,
with people, and that's so important. So important.
Like I said earlier, I don't believe anybody gets up in the morning and says, today's a great day to fail. We just trip over ourselves. Right?
I've tripped over myself a lot. Oh my gosh, a lot. Well, Peter, we both know that being an entrepreneur can sometimes be a roller coaster, of emotions. That you can be up today, down tomorrow, and just within 72 hours, you're ready to just quit and just give it all up. So tell me and tell our listeners, how do you keep focused? How do you keep the end result in mind?
That's a tough one to answer, but it goes back to something my dad used to tell me all the time when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And they never give up. And, there are times where I just want to say, fold up the website, wrap this stuff up, put it in the box and put it in storage and, write the word past on it. But then you have these stories that people tell you in Orlando, and then, other testimonies I've gotten from people, and, you get wonderful testimonials on the website or whatever it may be, and these are wonderful. And you have to go back to remembering the impact that you're having on other people.
Right.
And, as you said earlier, this is something that, God could be using me for. So, I could try all kinds of other things, but nothing else is working. I keep coming back to this.
Right, right.
And it's kind of like, oh, so this is what you really want me to be doing.
Yes,
oh, okay,
exactly.
And sometimes I picture God just with his arms crossed, tapping his toe, going, did you get it yet? Are you ready?
Right? I can only imagine how he must be up there.
But when you look at, again, you go back to that history, don't confuse your history with your destiny, you look at all these things. From my childhood to, my teenage years, I was a horrible kid. to my military experience, to my experience of being a city firefighter, to my experience of being an arson investigator, to my experience of coming into the beauty industry and so on and so forth. You mentioned leadership earlier. I have been blessed to have had great leaders in my life, starting with my father. And, I had several great teachers. One, Mr. Fravel, I'll never forget that guy. And he was my 6th grade teacher. And then you go through, different years of high school, and then you go through the military, all these different places. I've had wonderful leaders in my life that have taught me and shown me through example how to become the man that I am today, and still the man that I'm still becoming.
Yes, it's so important. It truly is to have great leaders in your life and mentors. And, you are very fortunate to have had that, because not many people have that. And, honestly, Peter, that's one of the reasons why, I wanted to create this show, was because there are so many people out there that don't have leaders around them, in their lives. And I thought that maybe we can just bring some people like yourself, on our show, each day, and they can get inspired and possibly resonate with someone to help them take action, in their lives.
Well, that's wonderful, and I hope that the message we're leaving today, just in this interview and the other interviews you have, I hope that they do inspire people, because I think that's a key. I think people need to have good leaders, and if you can't find a leader, find a great mentor.
Yes.
Find someone in your life that you can look up to, or you can talk to, and somebody who's going to inspire you and encourage you, not hold you back.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. So true, and it's just so important. We really can't even stress that enough. Like, we can take another hour just talking just about that.
Yeah.
But of course we don't have time for that. But it's so important, so important. And the next thing, Peter, I do want to ask: do you have any new projects that you're working on that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I've got a couple books I'm working on, but 2 of the books I'm working on right now that I'm hoping to get out really, really, really soon. Like I said, we've already started teaching the class material for it. But I've got one of my new books is called Beyond the Bottom Line, and it contains several really cool training chapters in there, like, stop blocking your own success, your happiness is an inside job, and so on and so forth. And these books really cross over the business and personal. So, I mean, whether you're a business owner looking to find new ways to grow your business and improve your team or whatever it may be, it's going to be in the book. If it's your personal life or your relationships or your marriages, whatever it may be, you can easily tweak the verbiage, and it goes from business to personal, or business to personal to relationships, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, it's about bringing this whole thing, beyond the bottom line. It's not just business all the time. It's not just
right.
It's us as people. I can say my business is terrible because I don't have any clients, but if you've ever saw the picture of my hand on my website where one finger is pointing out and the other 3 fingers are pointing back,
I've seen it.
I can say my business is horrible and my clients are terrible, but I got to look at the 3 fingers pointing back at me. I can look at my team and say how terrible they are, but I got to look at the 3 fingers pointing back at me. My happiness is my inside job, and I'm responsible for that. And then when we look at business, the word business, right in the center of the word business is the letter I. I am the center of my business. I am the center of happiness. And it all starts from within us, not without it.
Exactly. Wow. That's going to be so impactful. I can't wait for you to finish those. And, no, really, I can't wait to read them.
Yeah, I can't wait to finish them either, man, because I know this is going to be powerful stuff, and this is like, oh my God, and I'm going through eraser over eraser and delete, but it just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. And then the other book that we have is pretty much a 52-week journal book with weekly inspiration, and then you can measure where you're at with that weekly inspiration on those pages for that week. And so it's not a calendar year per se. It can start anytime you purchase the book, but it has a progression of growth to help people move forward.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Peter, that's great.
Thanks.
And, when you finish with those, please let me know. We'd love to have you back on the show later.
Oh, thank you.
And come in and talk about your books.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll even send you something. You can look at it.
Okay, now I'm really excited.
There you go. Yeah, I'll share with you.
Thank you. You're the best. You're the best.
Thanks.
All right, well, we're going to move on and to our success round. This is something that, we came up here with at Success Talkers Radio because we wanted to ask questions to our guests that we felt like our entrepreneurs would want to know. We've taken surveys and we've, asked them what kind of questions they would like to know. So what we're going to do right here is I'm going to throw some questions at you. Okay. And then I want you to kind of throw some back at me, throw some answers back at me, some knockout answers. Fair enough?
Yeah, fair enough.
So, what was it that held you back from becoming an entrepreneur before you got started?
Fear. Fear. I had all the ideas, I had all the energy, I had all the inspiration to do this, but it was fear. One stupid little fear that I wouldn't succeed.
And that's usually always everybody's number one reason.
Everybody's number one, fear.
So how did you overcome it?
By just deciding to do it. And I was doing a lot of public speaking at one time, and every time I did public speaking, man, my knees would shake, my arms, my stomach would be just so. And my wife Sandra, she's an amazing woman. I talked to Sandra one day. I said, Sandra, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe public speaking isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened PBS had a special on, and they were doing something about Barbra Streisand. And they talked about how Barbra Streisand still throws up to this day before she does a performance.
Whoa.
And I thought to myself, holy cow, if she throws up before she goes on stage, I'm okay. And so I learned to use that nervous energy, and instead of worrying about what I was saying, I just went into myself and just went into my joy spot, man, and just let that information just flow out freely.
Wow, that's good stuff right there. That's good.
And then I learned something else, too. Somebody taught me, they said, you've got three types of people in your audience. People who love you no matter what you say, people who paid to come and hear what you had to say, and people who don't care what you have to say no matter what. So
that is so true.
Don't focus on that 1/3 that doesn't care what you have to say. Focus on the other 2/3 that love you and came to hear what you had to say. And maybe you'll win over the other third. It was like, wow, that was a life-saving moment right there.
Now that's a light bulb moment right there.
Yeah.
That is so true. Focus on the ones who want your information, who want your content.
Exactly. And the others that love you no matter what. Draw on that energy. That's
so true. It's all about a choice, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You can choose, to drop on negative energy or choose to drop on the positive energy. So that's great. That's good stuff right there. Love that.
Thanks.
Love it. So what is the best business advice you've ever received, and who gave it to you?
Well, again, let's go back to my dad. Well, my dad said never give up. He says you got great ideas, you got great concepts. My dad was funny. He was a steel mill worker. He'd look at me and scratch his head and go, I don't know how you're going to make any money doing that, but he says never give up. He goes, if that's what you want to do and that's what you believe in, then go for it. Fight for it. And that's what I did. And again, through some of the great leaders I've had in my life, some of the great mentors, people that would scratch their head too going, I don't know how you're going to make money at this, but if that's what you want to do, go for it. And I've had great guidance in my life.
I love that. I just love it. You have such a powerful story.
Oh, thanks.
Just truly powerful.
Thank you.
And I hope you're sharing it. I hope you're sharing some of these things that we talk about when you're out there speaking, because those are the life-changing things that people need to hear.
Thanks. And I agree. And I think you just have to get your life to be vulnerable. And not really weakness, but it's vulnerable from a place of strength. And hoping that you're helping other people to see their inner strength to stand tall for what they believe in and for what they truly want to do. Follow your bliss, man.
Well, can you share one of your daily personal habits, Peter, that you believe attributes to your success?
I journal. And, it's not like a Dear Diary, today I met a woman. It's like I get into my journal. It's kind of like, where do I see myself going today? What do I want to do today? What did I accomplish yesterday? What felt good? What felt bad? What's going to get repeated? What's going to get let go? And, just kind of that's my new roadmap. And sometimes I just kind of improve my roadmap during the day.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I want to go. Do you just choose to take the scenic route to get there, or you want to take the route to get there?
Right.
And but journaling I find is a great thing to do, and I highly recommend it for anybody. And naturally, for people who journal, at first they want to journal all the things that hurt them. So I say, if you want to journal all the things that hurt you, that's great, because after about 30 days, you can go back to page 1 and realize that doesn't hurt as much anymore. And then 6 months later, you can go back to page 1 and realize you can't believe you wrote that down. Then a year from now, go back to page 1 and go, God, I can't believe that even happened to me. And the next thing you know, you're not writing about negative anymore. You're just writing about what you truly want. Isn't that cool?
Oh, my gosh. I love this. Oh, my gosh.
It's like driving your car, man. It's like driving your car. You got this huge windshield in front of you, man, and you're driving down the road. That huge windshield allows you to see everything that's in front of you. And you have a choice to choose what direction you want to go into. But that rear view mirror is just a place where we glance into the past. And that's what the journal does. It gives you a glance into the past of where you've been. Doesn't mean you're going to drive your car through the rearview mirror. You're still going forward. Right? But it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt you to see what's behind you and where you've been.
Right.
Never
Absolutely.
forget where you've
I
been.
love that you talk about that. I love that because, I started journaling a few years back, then I kind of fell off, then I pick it up again. And it's amazing when I go back and I look at some of my old
Yeah.
journals and see what's in there. I'm like, wow, like I can't believe I actually wrote
Yeah,
this.
or this really bothered me back
All
then.
right.
Whoa.
Right, right. It is so, and it's really freeing though. I see why you say you should journal because when you get those thoughts out of your mind and onto paper, you're releasing it. So it's
It
powerful.
is powerful. And, you said the thing right there. You're releasing those inner thoughts. And, if you don't take the garbage out, after a while it's going to start to stink. And maybe you don't smell it, but people around you will.
Ooh, that's a good takeaway right there, Success Stalkers. That's a good takeaway.
Okay? Get rid of your trash, man. Get those emotions out.
Take out the
Take out the
trash.
trash.
I love it. I love it. Well, Peter, do you have an internet resource or business tool that you can share with our listeners today?
The app that I love the most, that I get the most use out of for not only growing my business but monitoring and everything else like that, is Evernote.
Yes.
Evernote to me is, and Evernote just keeps getting better and better and better. And so you talk about one app that I can use from my smartphone to my desktop to a PC to a Mac, wherever I'm at.
Right.
And
Right.
even if I forget something, I can go to a hotel, go to the business center and just put my Evernote account up. That to me is like the greatest tool.
I love
Yeah,
technology.
exactly.
Can be a little bit overload, can get overwhelmed a little bit, but when you find something like
Yeah.
Evernote that works, stick with it, stick
Well,
with
the
it.
idea of being able to track your photographs and everything else like that. And there's so many other apps that are coming out that are like that now too. But I just find Evernote
Mhm.
is the best for me and the most secure for me.
So what books would you recommend? I know we just talked about your books that you're writing, and I can't wait for those to be done. But are there any other books that you've read that really resonate with you that you could recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, I've got a couple if I can just share with them. Um,
Sure.
there's a book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and this book is an amazing book. And I can't tell you how many times I've read it, read it. What language am I speaking? I can't tell you how many times I've read this book, start to
You're
finish.
fine.
But this book is amazing. And I mean, you talk about, okay, whether it's life, business, whatever it may be, and then the quotes that are in it are just amazing. And then Wayne
They
Dyer
are.
has a few books. The Power of Intention, Excuses Be Gone. These are wonderful books to read. And then there's another book out, Danny
Okay.
Cox, Seize the Day. If you're looking to improve your leadership
Those are
skills,
good books.
I think Seize the Day is a great book to go after for leadership skills. Um,
Okay.
if you're looking for something different in business, the book Business Think is another one. It's endless. And I just think here's a goal that I try to set for myself. And if other people did this too, it can make a big difference in their life. You ready for this?
Yes.
Commit to reading 10 pages a day, every day, of any book. And if you did 10 pages per day, that's 300 pages per month. And in most books, that's the end of the book.
That's
And so
true.
if you could read 300 pages a month,
That's true.
you'll probably end up reading anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 books a year. And education, if people talk about separation, the only separation there is in this world, and this is my truth, it doesn't anybody else's, it's education. Read, read,
Absolutely.
read. The more you read, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you'll earn. The more you earn, the more you can do. And the more you can do, the more you experience and share and give back.
I love that you talk about 10 pages a day because everybody's busy, but we can find times for the things that really are important in our lives. And if you just break it down that way, it's really not that hard and it's not a lot. Just reading 10 pages a day because I love to read, but sometimes it's like you don't always feel like reading, but when you do it that way, it kind of makes me think, okay, I don't have to feel like I have to read 3 chapters today. I can just read
Right.
10 pages, and just, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You just take a little bite at a time, and then before you know it, it's gone. So, yeah, I love that
Cool.
analogy.
Thanks.
Good stuff.
See, I get
Good
excited.
stuff.
I have no idea what I'm going to say next. I love hanging out with me.
We definitely got to hang out because, I got to get back into the industry and start going to some more hair shows and all that stuff. So, yeah, we'll talk about all that
There you
stuff
go.
later. But anyway, my last question, Peter, today is I want you to imagine for just a moment that you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You still have all of the experience and knowledge you currently have today. Your food is taken care of. Your shelter is taken care of. But all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
Well, I'd take part of that $500 and pay for an internet access. And then I'd get myself a Skype account. I'd create a website. I would use all the social media mediums I can, like Facebook, Google+, Foursquare, LinkedIn, and I would start networking. And I would start networking with as many people as possible. And with the remaining money I had, I would make the investments into helping other people to grow. And whether it was only helping them to grow through words, or whether it was helping them to grow with, some financial backing of the $500 I had left, at the end of the day, I find that helping others truly helps me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love your answer because so many of our guests that come on, they pretty much kind of say not all the same thing, but they really want to get out there and start networking with people, and that is so key. And the reason why we ask this question, Peter, is because we want our listeners to understand you have to put yourself out there. You have to go meet people. You have to get out and network. If you're in business, or if you're starting a business, if you're starting from scratch, or if you lost your business, having to start over again, or you have a business that's struggling, get out. Just get out of the house, get out of just whatever you're doing. Go meet some people. So that is so
Those are
important.
three things that I try to teach the salon staff and the salons and the others I work with, are the 3 G's to success. Get up, get out, get involved.
Oh, I love it.
Because if you don't do that, people aren't going to know where your business is. And this is what I try to tell young hairdressers and young entrepreneurs. If you pass out 5 business cards a day to 5 complete strangers 5 days a week, at the end of the year, you would have passed out 1,300 business cards. And if the law of guerrilla marketing stands true and 10% of those people came back to you, you've just picked up 130 new clients. And if you take that 130 new clients and multiply that by 6 visits per year by the type of services charges that you would have, there's your projected revenue off of that. And then you take that 130 and you do the same thing next year and add that 130 onto the previous 130. Now you got 260.
That is so
Isn't
true.
that cool? And for a lot of hairdressers, they think they need 1,000 clients, but in reality, if they have people coming back every 6 weeks let's just say they just get a haircut every 6 weeks.
Right.
The average hairdresser only needs 250 clients a year.
True. You're absolutely
right.
right.
So
You're so right about that. You are so right about that.
So in order to get that 250, I just got 130 by investing 12 months of passing out business cards the first year. And this is where
Right.
young hairdressers coming into the industry at the very beginning would just learn it first. Networking, learn to walk up to somebody, shake their hand, look in their eyes, and introduce yourself.
Yes, I agree.
Communicate.
I agree.
And we live in a face-down society where everybody's texting and so on and so forth. And I don't begrudge that. If that's what people want to do, that's great. But I think we need to learn to look up.
Oh, absolutely.
Look up.
I totally agree with that because people are all around us.
Yeah.
But we miss so many people and opportunities because we're looking down.
Yeah.
We're always on the phone. We're always texting, and like you said, I'm not trying to talk against it, but if you're in business, you better look up. Period.
You do. 3 fingers pointing back. My business isn't successful. Why is my business not successful? What happened? Why did it happen? And how can I change it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Peter, I just tell you, I really enjoyed our time today and enjoyed hearing your journey, and it's just been so inspiring.
Thank
and before we end, if you can just give our success stalkers one piece of advice or guidance, and then share the best way they can find you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Well, the best way anybody can find me is livinglifeonfire.com is my website.
Okay.
And if I can leave anybody just a piece of advice that's out there, love people where they are, but first love yourself where you're at. And if we learn to love ourselves first and we fill our hearts with love first, then all the overflow of that love will be freely given away with no expectation of love coming back. And when you can get to that place, there isn't anything you can't do. Love people where they're at.
Powerful. Thank you so much. You've just really, really inspired us today and, just dropped some really great golden nuggets on us today. So I really appreciate that. And I know our listeners do too. And they can also find all the links and the things that we talked about today and things that we chatted about today. They can find it at successstalkers.com/Peter G. So yeah, you can even refer people to there. So people will be able to find you through our website as well as Living Life on Fire. So, well, Peter, again, we just appreciate you for being so generous with your time today and being transparent. So we say thank you, and we'd love to have you back on the show soon.
Thank you for this opportunity, man. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much again. And for everyone out there listening, thanks so much for tuning in. And until our next episode, keep stalking success. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. If you'd like to hear more from these inspiring entrepreneurs and entertainers, be sure to subscribe to the Success Stalkers Radio podcast on iTunes. And if you found value in this episode, give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. You may also visit us at successstalkers.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.